Good morning, y'all. Welcome back to Looter Co. Arms channel. This is going to be part 3 in electric water heater 101. Should be the last part. And today we're going to replace the elements and the anodes in the water heater under the house. And you'll also see all of the things that I talked about on the first 2 videos. So if you missed those, it's they're both electric water heaters 101. One of them is how the water heater works, and one of them is how to hook 2 water heaters together in series. And this last part will be replacing the elements and the anodes, and also show you how to replace the thermostat, even though I'm not replacing my thermostats because they're working. But I'll show you how you would do it. So step 1, you got to go and cut the power off to the water heater. Anytime you're going to drain the water heater, you got to cut the power off. So find your breaker for your water heater, cut that bad boy off. Now I'm home by myself today, so I don't have to worry about anybody turning that back on me. But if you are doing this and you have people at home, you need to let them know not to cut that back on. So we got to cut off. Now the second thing we got to do is cut the water off going to the water heater. If you're lucky, most newer houses and such, you probably got a cutoff valve right at the water heater. But I have an old house, so I got to go cut the water off at the meter. So we're going to walk out here in the front yard where the meter box is, and I got my cutoff tool here, and we'll cut this off. So pretty simple thing to do. Let me set you all down here. Alright, so I got the cover off the meter box, and of course there's all kinds of dirt and bugs and stuff down in here, but what we're looking for is that valve right there. So all we want to do is turn that valve and cut the water off. And it's kind of hard on mine because it's kind of stuck in the side there, but basically give it a quarter turn and it cuts the water off. So now that we got that off, we'll get back in the house, and we need to turn on the faucet, make sure that the water is actually cut off. And we also need to leave one of the faucets on, that way air can go through the top and we can get the water heater to drain. So we'll just lay that down there. Come on back in here and we'll cut this hot water on. And that was our residual pressure from the water heaters being warm, and the water is off. We're going to leave that on so that the tanks can drain. Got our tool bag and our box with the elements and stuff. And of course it's starting to rain. Quickly go around here to the crawl space. Need 2 hands for this. crawl space. There's the water heaters. Let me get all this stuff moved inside real quick and I'll bring you right back. Okay, so now we're under the house. We got our 2 water heaters here. And I'll point out some of the stuff from the first 2 videos. On each water heater, you got a cold water in and hot water out. You got your electrical connections. You got the 2 covers on each one. Those are where your thermostats and your elements are. We'll pull one off here in a second. This is that pop-off valve I was talking about right here. And just leave that thing alone. You don't need to mess with it. And it's on both of them. It's covered up on that one. It's on the back side. But so first things first, we need to drain these water heaters. So you got a little valve right here, and you want to be real careful not to break this plastic piece of crap. But in my case, this floor slants back this way, and we'll just let that water drain out wherever it feels like going. So, let's see if we can get this thing to turn and not break. Alright, now we get our screwdriver. Looks like we might have some sediment and such blocking that, but that's okay because that's what we got this here for. There it goes. Now we can put our cap back on a little bit so that the water goes down. So now we got the water draining out of that one. This one over here, I gotta get a piece of this box and make a don't want water filling up my pan underneath there. That one open, and hopefully that'll keep, I know some water's going to get in there, but it might keep most of it going the right direction. Yeah, we're going to have to clean this one out too. So if your thing's plugged up, you just unscrew this all the way out of there, and then you can poke a little something. I got a piece of wire here. Let me move the camera back so it doesn't end up getting wet. And you can just poke this up in there and get it kind of unplugged, just like that. All right, so while I drain these, I'm going to cut the camera off, and I'll bring you back once I get them drained. Okay, so I've gone ahead and pulled the covers off, and now you can see under each one of these there is a thermostat and an element. So what we're going to do first, though, is replace the anode. Now what I'm going to do this first water heater. I'm not going to bore you with going through both of them because it's basically the same thing. But up on top of the water heater, you'll find a plug. Let's see if I can get the light on it here. Let's see. All right. See that plug right there? That is your anode. So we'll get our wrench here, socket stuck in there. There we go. Loosen. And we'll pull this out of here. If it's like the last time I did this, there's not going to be a whole lot left of this thing. Yep, it is 8 all the way up, and that's what it's there for. It's a sacrificial anode. So now we take our new one, and I'll show you this thing. So I get, because I don't have a lot of room between the top of the tank and the bottom of the floor joists, I buy these segmented anodes. And when they come, they're actually 4 sections. So it'll fit the big tall water heater. But if you got the shorter one, you just cut the bottom 2 sections off. And I'm going to put some thread tape on the threads here, so we get a good seal. Just bear with me here. I tell you what, thread tape is a pain in the behind. Hold on a second. I'll be right back. Alright, so I got some thread tape on there. We're going to take this thing up here and we're going to stick it in the hole. Like so. Get it down in there. We'll get it started by finger. And then tighten that thing on down. All right, so that's good and tight. Now we got to do the elements. They're right here on the front. So, the camera sitting here. Hopefully, y'all will be able to see what we're doing here. So, to get the element out, first you got to take the wires off of it. So, get your screwdriver. Loosen the two screws there. Then you got your wrench. This is made for doing this. Now, this shouldn't be overly tight because it's got a gasket on it. But put your wrench on there. Yep, it's already moving. Start to unscrew it, and then you should be able to just unscrew that right out of there. So once it's loose, you can pull it on out, and you can see why I'm replacing this thing. See, all that makes this work less efficiently. So we'll get one of our new ones. And stick it. Oh, one thing to remember, when you pull the old one out, make sure, see if I can get some light on this. Make sure that rubber gasket right there comes with it. And then when you go to put your new one in, make sure your rubber gasket is on it. Because if it's not, you're not gonna have a good day. We'll shove that back in there and start the threads like so. Then take your wrench, put it on there, and this insulation gets in the way. You just kind of got to work around it. Do that. Now you just want to snug this. You don't need to over tighten it because it's got a rubber gasket on it. You just want it snug like that. So that's in. Now we can put our two wires back on. And what did I do? There we go. Put that right there. Had to get it the right angle where my readers would catch that. Getting old and losing your close vision kind of sucks ass. Alright. Get that one in there. Stick that on there. It would help if I put it in the right spot, wouldn't it? There we go. All right. All right. That's on. So that's one. Now we got to do the second one down here. Oh, this one doesn't want to go. All right. Let's see if this will fit it. Yeah. Sometimes you just got to get a little better of a wrench. Oh yeah. All right. That got it. And there goes the rest of the water. There's quite a bit of buildup on that one too. Not looking good. That's okay though. The gasket came out with it, so that's good. Let's get our, y'all excuse me here. Probably should have had this ready to stick in the hole. All right. Shove that back in there. Start the threads in. We can go ahead and shut this off because it ain't doing us no good anymore. Close that down. All right. Tighten this on down. Make sure you get all this foam out from under it. And give it a little snugging. All right. Put our 2 wires back on. Y'all will excuse me. I gotta get at an angle where my readers can see this thing. And all this kneeling, it's kind of hard on an old man's knees, but gotta be done. All right, there's 1 wire. Let's get this other one on here. There we go. All right. So we got both elements back on here. New elements, new anode. Everything's sealed back up. Water drain valve is cut off. So, put the covers back on and you'd be done. But I'm going to go ahead and do this one real quick. And once I'm done with that one, then I'll bring you back and I'll show you how to get everything started back up the proper sequence to do that. So we will be back once I get this other one done, just like the first one. So it occurs to me that I had told y'all I was going to show you how to change out one of these elements. So there's 2 different styles that this can be. So on this water heater, it's got clips right here. I don't know if you can see them. Let me see if I can get the light in here. There we go. All right. So it's got some clips there. That LED light's messing with the screen. It's got some clips there that hold it in. So it just slides in and kind of clicks in. Easy peasy. You take the wires off, pull the old one out, put the new one in. Some of them, some water heaters, especially the older ones, will have screws in these screw holes. Either way, you just take the wires off of the old one and put the new one on. So that's how that works. So I'll be right back once I get this finished. Okay, so once you get all of your elements back in their holes, get everything wired back up, close all your water valves on the bottom, got your new anodes in. Now we're ready to turn stuff back on and test and check for leaks. So first step is going to be to back on up out of that basement and give your knees a rest. All right, gather up our trash here in the tool bag because we don't want to leave any of this in the rain. So hopefully you could see most of what I was doing. If you couldn't, I apologize. I'm pretty sure that the LED lights were messing with the camera. I'll see when I edit this, but if they were and it shows up in the video, I apologize. There's not a whole lot I can do about that. And you can probably tell that's not the most comfortable place for a full-grown fat boy to work, especially an old one with bad knees. But we got all that done. So next, you'll recall that we left this faucet on inside of the house. Right here. This hot water. So we want to double check and make sure that when we turn the water on, this is going to go in the sink and not cause a flood or anything. Because what we've got to do is get all that air out of the line. Here, I'll show you what I'm talking about. We'll turn that valve off and you'll see when we go turn this water back on, you'll see what I'm talking about. So let me gather up my tool and I'll be right back. All right, got our water key and we'll go turn this water back on, and then I'll show you what I'm talking about with all the air. You got to get both of those tanks full of water again with no air before you turn the electricity back on. So once again, we're at this box here, and just the opposite of last time, we're going to turn this water back on, and you can hear it flowing there because it's filling those tanks back up. Put our cover back on. All right, so now we're going to go in here. Now, I know from crawling around under this house for the last 25 years that other than the washing machine, which I can't really do anything about, this is the farthest away from the water coming in. So first I'm going to open the cold water, because it's going to dump out a bunch of rust crap. That happens with old pipes every time you shut the water off. And now we'll open hot. You're going to get a bunch of air bubbling out of this. So it takes a while to get all the air out because you're filling both of those tanks back up with water. It's coming though. got to figure that's 2 38-gallon tanks, so it's going to take a while to push all the air out of it. What we'll do is go ahead and open these others in the bathroom too. Oh yeah. So once you get flow, you want to let it run until it runs clear. And then if you're smart, once you get clear water out, you're going to want to definitely clean that rust out of the bathtub and the sink. So we're going to let this run for a little bit, and I'll be right back. All right, it took about an hour, but our water is finally running nice and clear. So now you can shut it off. I already shut the bathroom water off. This is the highest point. One thing to remember, and I should have done it first, I ended up having to clean all of them out, is you might want to pull these screens off of your faucets. They just unscrew before you turn all the water on, because all that rust and crap will clog up these screens in here. I've already cleaned these out, so they're looking good now, but alright, so now all the air is out of our lines. All the rust is out of our lines. We can turn the power back on. So once you turn the power back on, then you give it a while to warm up and check it. Now you can, if you feel like it, you can go under the house with a multimeter and you can follow the power switching from each element as they warm up. But I know that my thermostats work, so I'm fairly certain that I'm not going to have that problem. So now what? You need to go back under the house and check for leaks. And what I do generally is I'll go back under the house probably in about a half an hour, and I'll check for leaks. And if anything's leaking, I'll just tweak it, tighten it up just a hair. I don't think that's going to be a problem. But it's also a good idea to go back, say tomorrow sometime, and double check. And then maybe again in a week, just to be sure everything is sealed up and not leaking. And that's that. It's that easy. It's really not hard at all. hopefully all these videos have helped somebody out, giving you an idea of that job. It's a simple job. There's nothing too difficult about it. I think anybody could do it. And yeah, it's a piece of cake. And even if your water heater is working well, you should change that anode out probably every 3 years or so. It's just a good idea, because what that does is it gets corroded instead of your tank, is basically what it does. And I probably let mine go too long, which is why I had all the rust in the water. And that's not good for the water heater. It's not good for the elements, but it is what it is. Sometimes life gets away from you. But yeah, those should be changed out every 3 years. And really, I mean, you might as well change out, especially if you live in a place like, we don't have a lot of mineral content in our water here, but some places that do, you'll have to change those elements out a lot more often, because they'll be just covered in crap and shored out. So that's it. If anybody has any questions, just leave a comment, ask, and I do a pretty good job of answering questions. And hopefully this helps somebody, and we'll see you in the next video. Y'all have a good one.